coming up on the official Celtic FC Podcast. Celtic's number one, Kasper Schmeichel, reflects on his recent recovery from injury, shares some incredible career stories and looks ahead to this weekend's Scottish Cup final.
You must never take these things for granted. We've got to enjoy them. We have to enjoy them because you never know what's around the corner.
Hello and welcome to the official Celtic FC Podcast. I'm Matthew Campbell and I'm delighted to be joined once again by Kasper Schmeichel. Kasper, thanks very much for taking time out to speak to us.
Thank you.
How are things? I know it's been a rough couple of months in terms of recovering from injury, but how's the recovery went and how are you feeling now?
Yeah, no, I feel good now. I feel really good now. It's one of those things, you get injured, and when we found out the extent of the injury, you know, with it being a fracture, there's just not much you can do. Not that much rehab that's going to fix a bone. So it's a case of getting as much strength back into the joint and as much flexibility as possible. But it is just a waiting game. Yeah. So until the doctors, they give the okay for the healing of the bone, then, like I said, there's not a great deal you can do. So it's one of those annoying type of injuries, but you know, on the other hand, I got lucky because it could have been a lot worse. Yeah, for sure. Was it one of those that you could tell straight away? Could you sort of feel that it was going to be bad? Felt and heard it really? Crack. Yeah, for sure. That must be kind of a wee bit terrifying when you can actually hear the injury taking place. Yeah, even with a loud noise at the stadium, you know, obviously hearing it crack and all that. But yeah, I knew instantly that I'd done something bad. Mm-hmm. You know, it's one of those things. It's annoying because the situation comes from a clear offside from the halfway line, and the way the rules are, they don't flag it, and you know you get an injury from a situation that could have been avoided. Yeah. It's frustrating, but that's life sometimes, and yeah, you got to make the best of it. Yeah. And luckily back now, been training for a few weeks now, and feel really good. Excellent. And it's great that you are back, of course, as well, and that you're fully recovered. But obviously, speaking a wee bit there about, you know, the fact the injury took place when you're on international duty. Talking about that, playing for your country, you know, we're well over 100 caps now. You're for Denmark. Thinking back, do you remember the feeling when you got your first call up? No, it was a terrible feeling because we lost 3-0. We were 3-0 down after about 20 minutes. So, I mean, I was in and around the fold a couple of times. I played quite a few under 21s and all that, but I didn't actually make my debut till I was 26. Right. So, you know, I'm making up for lost time. Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, I was in and around on the bench and things like that, but it took a while to kind of get the chance. But yeah, once I got the chance, I was determined not to let go. Yeah, for sure. You know, I know it may seem like a sort of obvious question, but you know, there's also obviously great pride when you're the number one goalkeeper for a top club and playing at the top level. But is there a different feeling, a different sort of pride when you're the national team's number one? Yeah, I think when it comes to your country, it will always be a different feeling. When I was a kid growing up, you know, imagining myself playing at the professional level, it was always a Denmark shirt in my head. That was always the dream, the ambition, and you know, having been a player who is not, I mean, I played most of my career in England, and not being from England, it's rare that you have opportunities where you have all your family and your friends be able to come to games. People, they come in drips and drabs, and you know, they come visit and they come watch a game, and you have a few, and which is nice. But international games have always been the games where everyone, like literally 40-50 tickets for every game, because that's kind of the point where everyone can get together. All my friends, all my family, everyone can be at the games. So they've always been really, really special. Because and obviously because it's a stadium I grew up in. I grew up watching my dad in that stadium, and it holds a lot of special memories. The national team, you know, it means a lot to my entire family. And yeah, you know, I was a fan as a kid, and to be able to play and contribute to the team that you've supported your whole life, and knowing that one day when you finish, you will become a fan again.
Yeah.
It's a very poetic thing, and there's certain elements of football where there's still some romance left, and that's definitely one of them for me. Being able to walk out wearing your national team shirt, and sometimes being captain, and these things to lead, to be captain at the Euros was one of the biggest honours of my life. That's it is hard to describe because it is a very unique kind of feeling.
Yeah, well, I think you worded it, really well. I totally can picture it, that feeling of romance and pride. I was going to ask you, throughout your time so far in the international scene, what are the high points? Because obviously, like you say, in World Cups, captaining your team as well. I mean,
yeah, I think without a question, individually high points is captaining your team. Captaining your team at a major tournament is that's an incredible feeling. To captain your team at a World Cup and against the world champions, that was massive. To do it again at the Euros, that was big as well. To have the accolades of the amount of times I've been like Danish Player of the Year and those kind of things, that's big. But the ones that stick out in the memory are for example the run to the semi-final of the Euros in 2021. That's a very bittersweet and a lot of emotions involved in that, in the sense that the way it started with Christian Eriksen's heart attack to then getting to the semi-final, and how not just the team but the country sort of rallied together, and the support we had, and also because of the way the Euros were, we were based in Denmark, so to actually be in the country and feel that kind of that kind of buzz, all being during COVID time, we didn't really get to actually experience it as much as we wanted, but to see what that did for the country and how everyone kind of rallied around, that was incredible. And then we still look back on that we should have got to the final. We deserve to go to the final, and that will forever hurt. But again, like I say, it is a highlight because it brings up so many different types of emotions. But the one that probably sticks out is the moment with Christian, how everybody, not just the team, the players, the staff, but the whole stadium, the country, everyone kind of stuck together, and to see what we then were able to produce and achieve after that, how we were able to bounce back, and that's always going to be special, without question.
When you're speaking about that there, I remember it so vividly as well, watching it on TV. But it's only now as we're sitting here, chatting about it. I mean, for you guys, when that happened, of course, with Christian Eriksen, that must have been really difficult on a personal level, of course, because he's your teammate, your friend. But I assume that for a lot of you guys, you never dealt or experienced a situation like that before.
No, I'd unfortunately experienced something similar before, not on a football pitch, but obviously with it happening on such a big stage, it was unique. I think my kind of thoughts at the time were the location on the pitch was where the families were sitting. Right. So I was kind of thinking if this was me, my family would be watching. So I was trying to find where his family was sitting, and there was lots of thoughts going around your head, of course. But the one thing that always kind of, now I can luckily look back on it with joy, because Christian is here and he's playing and he's back, So the thing I always look back on, particularly at that point, was you talk about performance or team and football performance, but the performance of the medical staff, that was insane to see, because the pressure they were under to make decisions, and it's not like a football player making it. This is life-changing decisions, life-saving decisions, and the coolness and calmness, that they performed under was just that was incredible. Yeah. So, though as a national team, I think will always be special, particularly to the players who are in that squad. So we do have a very unique, a very unique connection to the national team. And personally, because I grew up with it, I've always had that, but that only made it stronger.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was wonderful to hear you speaking about the international career. We're having a little look back here today, obviously chatting through, international career, other teams that you've played for and stuff like that. To set the scene as well for our viewers and listeners, we are speaking today, Friday, just before Trophy Day at Celtic Park, which is coming tomorrow. It's going to be wonderful. Another league title for Celtic and another league title for yourself, of course. You're a Premier League winner with Leicester way back in 2016. Let me just take you back to that season, if you don't mind. I know so much has been spoken about that season through the years, but I was curious when I was looking at it earlier and thinking back to watching it. For you guys as players, was there a point in that season where you thought, this is going to happen here?
Yeah, that's probably the most common asked question.
I'll just scribble that one up.
When did you think? And I think if you ask different players in the squad, it'll all be different times.
Yeah.
For me, it was quite early. It was Swansea away, 3-0 win, meaning we'd be top at Christmas. I think at the time, it was something like 18 of the last 20 who'd been top at Christmas had gone on to win it. Yeah. And I remember we were going off on our Christmas do, and I was saying to the lads, like, this is happening. This is happening this year. I think the most common answer will probably be when we beat City away at the Etihad. Yeah. Not just beating them, but the way we beat them. I think that was probably when maybe some of the players, but also the rest of the world would have kind of noticed that we were for real.
Yeah, it's one of football's great stories. It's become a sort of part of football conversation, around the world. People talk about, teams doing a Leicester City, coming from 5,000 to 1 and reaching the promised land of winning the title. As well as yourself, of course, as a standout player that season, one man I want to ask you about is Jamie Vardy, because of course Jamie Vardy's recently announced that he'll be leaving Leicester at the end of the season. I think, is he the last player from that title winning side that was still at the club?
I believe so, yeah, I believe so.
It's, real special talent, goal scoring machine. What was he like, what is he like to sort of work with on a day-to-day basis? Yeah,
Jamie was, it's hard to say, like Jamie is Jamie, he's such a iconic figure in football because of the story that he's kind of had. But as a striker, I loved playing with him. He was one of those guys who had something special, and the people that I've come across in my career who have something special, they sense opportunity where others don't. They search for any little chance that might fall. They don't wait for things to happen. They make things happen, and they anticipate, and they don't give up. And like I say, they search for any little thing that's going to give them an edge. And he's one of those guys. Yeah. He's one of those guys who was able to do that. And, that will probably have got him another 25, 30 goals that he wouldn't have got if he hadn't been like that. Yeah. But then on top of that, he had the speed, he had the strength, he had the stamina, he had the finishing ability. But he had incredible football intelligence. He wasn't, he didn't come sleeping to the party. He knew where to be. Very not just instinctive, because he also really worked at it, and he studied it, and he's a very keen observer of football. Watched a lot of football, I know, and adapted his game, changed his game through the years, he was an incredible part of Leicester's history. But it's one of those, when you're talking about the actual title-winning season, I don't like to single people out, because when you go through that team, every single player had a story that was different, and that group coming together, that was the reason. It wasn't because we were defensively solid, or N'Golo was one of the best players in the Premier League, or Riyad was one of the best players, or Jamie. Those are the three a lot of people mention. Yeah. And rightly so, because they're the really eye-catching ones. But for example, Danny Simpson had to do two-man's job because Riyad wasn't going to defend. Yeah. But Riyad was going to win you the game in some way. He was going to create something for Vard, or he was going to do it himself. But he didn't defend that much, so Simo had to do that job as well. And you had, on the other side, you had Mark Albrighton working. There were just so many people. You had Big Wes, Houthi, you had Fuchsi, Drinkwater, Okazaki working his tail off, and the lads coming in off the bench. It was, I think, the reason that probably resonates with a lot of people that like doing a Leicester is not just because it was such an underdog story. It was because it was a group of lads and the story of each lad in there that was so unique. Yeah. And the way we did it, the togetherness and how we did it, I think that's what resonates with people, because it gives you hope that, well, anything is possible. If you all come together at the right time, the right timing, the right mentality, then why not?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you say, you sum it up perfectly. It's a wonderful story because of the unity and togetherness of the group. Sort of moving on to another one of your former clubs, Falkirk. It's been a good season for those guys as well. They won the championship and they'll be back up in the Scottish Premiership next season. But I think I'm right in saying that one of your old coaches from your Falkirk days was here at Lennoxtown today. And
yeah, he was.
I catch up with him?
Yeah, Jim Preston, my goalkeeper coach. Yeah. So obviously Stevie Woods knows everybody in Scottish football, so he invited Jim up for some food and what to watch training and all that. It was really good to see him. I haven't seen him yet for what would that have been, 20 years or so. It was really nice to see him. Yeah, he was looking well, and it's nice to see someone after that many years.
Yeah, of course, and you'll be looking forward to facing your old club next season. Yeah,
it'll be good. Be good to see them back. Obviously faced them early in the cup, so that was nice. But it's good to see them back.
Magic. But talking about good seasons, of course, it's all about Celtic. We've had an absolutely incredible campaign. Like we said, this is the day before Trophy Day, and I think from speaking to you a few months back, we sat right here in the studio, really got the sense that for you, you've got the mentality that of always pushing forward, always looking to the next thing, and what next can be achieved. But in days like tomorrow, when you're lifting the trophy, given your experience in the game, do you just drink that in and sort of savour those moments?
You do, but you don't to a certain extent, and that the reason being there's a massive game the week after. So that's, I think, the day where you really drink it in if you go on and win that. Yeah. So there's no question we'll enjoy tomorrow, of course. It'll be a great occasion, and we deserve it because, like you say, we've had a great season. But there'll definitely be a sense that we're not going to get carried away with it because the job's not done yet. So we'll enjoy, but not too much.
It sort of changes the celebration a little bit then, I suppose, because of the fact that everybody's so focused, as you describe.
Of course. At the end of the day, our job is to deliver titles. That's our job, to deliver that for the fans. And we've done that. But our job is also to provide the next one. And the next opportunity for a trophy is the week after. So our job is to be professional. Our job is to not enjoy ourselves too much, and we don't get comfortable because there's still a job to be done. And when that job's done, whatever the outcome may be, that's when you then have time to maybe reflect and enjoy if you go ahead and win it. And that's the job of a professional footballer.
Yeah, it's a great mindset I've got to say as well. And as a supporter, it's brilliant to hear that sort of determination to deliver another piece of silverware. We'll talk about the Scottish Cup as we round up, but I just want to ask you about, because obviously the time when you were recovering, Vil Sinisalo stepped in between the sticks, and he'd done a fantastic job and could really see him almost growing every game. When I've spoken to Vil, it's funny because he's basically naming yourself as one of his goalkeeping heroes growing up, and how great it is to get to work with you every day. From your point of view, how impressed were you with the way that Vil performed in those weeks and months?
I think the biggest compliment I can give to him is I wasn't surprised. You know, it's what I expected. It's what I see every single day in training. And you don't get to a club like Celtic without being a good goalkeeper. As simple as that. So, yeah, I think the biggest compliment I can pay him is that I wasn't in no way surprised. You know, I've seen his level in training. I've seen what he's capable of, and now the rest of the world have seen it. So, yeah, I think the role of the goalkeeper is to step into any team and not be noticed. I think that's probably the best goalkeepers is you don't worry about them. I think anytime you're worrying about a keeper, that's when you have a problem. I think when a keeper is able to step into a team and just make the team flow, keep the momentum going, and obviously make saves at the right times. That's almost a given now. Like that's just what you have to do. But it's what else do you bring? Yeah. What else do you bring to the party? And you know, like I say, I've trained every day with Vil, and he's been really, really good. And the other one, I have to mention Scott Bain in this, because there's so many times in a career, in a season where, you know, you're training every day and it's difficult, and you need the people around you also to be just as focused and as motivated as you. And for someone like him to have to travel to every single game and come out for the warm-ups but not be on the bench, and to come in the next day with a smile on his face, working really, really hard and setting high standards, you know, that's a difficult job. That's such a difficult job. I've been in that job, and that is really, really tough. So the whole unit, I think, as goalkeepers with Woodsy as well, I think is a really well-functioning unit, and it's so important to have that for the team, but it's so important to have that for the keeper that's playing, to know that every single day in training standards are going to be high. You know, there's no one slacking off. Everyone's giving everything they got. So, you know, it's the nature and the life of a goalkeeper is that you never know when you're going to be called upon, but you have to be ready, and you're never going to be ready if you're not training properly, and everyone does that here. Yeah, it's a great point as well that you make about Scott Bain and the work that goes in there. Just as we round up, you know, when we put this podcast out, the confetti from Trophy Day will have settled. The league trophy will be back in the cabinet, but as you quite rightly said a few moments ago, by that point we'll be looking ahead and fully focused on the Scottish Cup final. As a player, a Celtic player, it must be you'll be able to tell us, a great sort of thrill and privilege to have these sort of seemingly, you know, never-ending opportunities to go and make history and to collect some silverware. They're not never-ending. That's the one thing we must never ever take these for granted, because it's not easy winning trophies or titles. Celtic have been able to do it because we have maintained an incredibly high standard of professionalism that's rooted deeply in hard work and dedication. Without that, it's not going to happen. So one thing I always would preach to anybody, any football fan, is to never take for granted the opportunity, and never take for granted how much hard work goes into getting those opportunities. I've been very lucky in my career to win trophies at different stages with different teams, different clubs, and these opportunities don't just come along. You know, there'll be periods you'll see big clubs. You know, Liverpool went a long time without winning. Man United are in one now. You know, there's big clubs that go through big periods of transition. So you must never take these things for granted. We've got to enjoy them. Yeah. We have to enjoy them, because you never know what's around the corner. But one thing I can for sure guarantee from my knowledge of the people in this building is that no one's going to let up. No one's going to let any standards drop or let focus go somewhere else. And I think that's the role of a professional footballer, is to know that you cannot take anything for granted. No one's going to give you anything. And every time you win, the target on your back gets bigger. Yeah. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And when you have that crest on your chest and that target on your back, you've got to be able to handle that pressure. You've got to be able to handle that. And that is the role of a Celtic player. And, you know, we've been able to deliver 2 for now. And, hopefully 3. And then we enjoy that. And then we reset and we go again next year.
Excellent. It's a fantastic mentality. I tell you, you've got me right up for the cup final as well, I've got to say. Well, Kasper, thanks very much for taking time to talk to us today. And it's brilliant that you're back and recovered, and here's hoping you're lifting another trophy by the end of the season.
Yes.
Brilliant, sure. Thank you.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks very much to you for watching or listening to this episode of the official Celtic FC podcast with Celtic's #1, Kasper Schmeichel. Thank you very much, and hail, hail.